Okay, so I got it back in. Let's give it a shot. I've got the Jeep completely up in the air, so I can start it and see if I've got a speedometer. And it looks like I'm gonna have a speedometer again. Hallelujah. So it is that little board. I want to work out what causes that thing to go out. So next time I try and fix the fuel gauge, but it may be the sending unit in the tank. I won't be able to do anything about it. But because I didn't want to risk it anymore, I took this stereo out that had problems, and I'm not trusting this one. I'm gonna throw it in the heap, and I've got another old Blaupunkt or something up there. I've had many stereos for years. I'm gonna throw in this dash, and hallelujah, huh? I got speedometer. Great. Got fuel pressure, or I mean oil pressure proper. I don't want to run it too long because I didn't open up the shop door. And so there we go. Got a speedo again. Hopefully nothing will take it out again. So yeah, look what I found. I remember a while ago having an extra one of these, simulator wood grain, and I had taken these vents out and cleaned them, Q-tipping them. But there is a way of popping these out. I'm not going to teach you how. It's very difficult to do without breaking them. But you don't really need to. You can give them a lube on the hinges in the back and then just Q-tip these to clean. So yeah, at least I'm going to have a little bit of wood, simulated wood grain in this Jeep, because just black and gray drives me crazy. So this looked good. Okay, so like doing the oil pressure sender, I used that 33 ohm resistor and put it in between the two lines on the test here that it tells you can do, and I'm reading normal gauge. So I know my gauge works. The harness works all the way to the sender. So crawling underneath, up above, like the rear diff between the tank, there's a plug. You can unplug it, and let me turn the key off now. This migrates down a lot slower than the oil pressure gauge. It may actually stay there. Anyway, so what you can do, so if you read right there, if you just unplug that, see, I was setting it at full, right? So I unplugged, step number 2 there, unplugged the fuel gauge center connector of the tank needle, and it should go to empty, which mine did. So that pretty much, I figured already my gauge was good and the harnessing was good, cabling. So the next step, number 3, connect a jumper between terminals 1 and 2, which is the pink and black and orange wires on the fuel gauge sender connector. The gauge should move to full. Well, I've already seen it full, so I wanted to see if it's getting a resistance and reads somewhere in between with that. Okay, so stepping in here, this is the fuel gauge sender. So here's the plug right here. So the black and orange and the pink and black is number 1 and 2. Here's your spade, your thumb lock. So holding it, I shoved in that 33 ohm between 1 and 2, and I used a wire to push into this one with a gator clip, and that's where you saw I'm getting that reading of a little over quarter tank, about 3/8 or so it was reading. So the fuel gauge runs on a different resistance range than the ohm range does. So this is also in the manual. So and this is what I used right here for the oil temperature gauge. So yeah, halfway point, I was saying it was 37 or something. It's actually 46.5 was 40 psi halfway on the oil pressure gauge. So down here on the fuel calibration, empty is reading 105 ohms, I'm sorry, and full is 5 ohms. So I had a 33.5. I guess it was close to half, wasn't it, when it settled finally? Because it says 32.5 ohms, should be about half tank. So my cabling and my gauge work fine. It's the center unit and the tank. But because it's still shipping fuel up to the engine, I'm not going to worry about it just yet. I'm just going to drive a little bit on it before I buy another fuel pump and sending unit, because it's all, you can get them all as one whole unit. And being 27 years old, I'm going to go ahead and replace both here in time, but I'm going to do that later. So there's troubleshooting your fuel gauge not working on a ZJ. Ta-ta. So she drives nice. Put a new stereo in it I can trust. Display's awful dim though. That stereo's probably from the 80s. But I have a check engine that's come on now. This is the thing with parts that haven't run for a while. All gauges are working, and honestly, I'm starting to wonder if that girl didn't sell me this thing with a full tank of gas. Because it's moved down off of full. I haven't gone too far, but I've been driving as far as like the DMV and other things, and I'm just up in the backwoods right now, taking a back road. It drives nice, no wobble. I got on the freeway. Doesn't look like I'll need to do a track bar yet or anything. It drives very nice. Stops good. Doing the brakes, I noticed all 4 discs need to be replaced. But yeah, it's wanting to drop dang near below idle, normal idle, when I come to a stop in gear. So I tried to clean the IAC and you know, throttle position sensors. I took out a HEPO to put in with this. I cleaned the throttle body real good. My ABS is on because I think that solenoid that comes off the brake booster is not plugged in, that came on the 93s. I'm going to put a jumper wire on it and see if I can just get that to go out. I'm going to hook in my scan tool and see what the check engine's telling me. But I'm going to drive around a little bit and see if fuel needle goes a little bit more further down, because I'm having a feeling that girl might have sold me this thing with a full tank of fuel. That would be cool.